Alright man, so I got the D50 here. I got the outputs plugged into my Focusrite. Just gotta plug it in now. And we gonna make some motherfucking melodies. Try and make a big ass loop kit with that thing before I gotta ship it off. Got the motherfucking man right here. Let's get to it. We're gonna make the first D-550 patch on camera. I've made like 2 loops already with like 8 or 9 different patches that I've made now. I've got my D550 over here. The audio output's going into my Focusrite. And then I've got FL Studio, I've got the MIDI out going into my Focusrite, which is going into the D550. And that's not the only thing sending MIDI. This editor also is sending MIDI to the Focusrite. So you've got MIDI coming from the keyboard and from this editor, going to the Focusrite, going to the D550, which is going back to my Focusrite through the audio inputs. And I'm pretty sure you already know this, but I just felt like explaining it. But yeah, I've never really used it, bro. I've had this hardware synth for, probably like 3 or 4 years. Never used it. So I never really learned how to set it up properly. But now I figured it out, and goddamn, I'm regretting not using it. Yeah, anyways, let's get into the fucking patch. Okay, so I'm going to try and make something kind of like, something kind of pulsating. Like if you've ever used Synology, you know what I mean, maybe. I want it to be like kind of sharp and beepy sounding, like a computer beeping or some shit. So let's see if I'm able to achieve that. I'm not that good at sound design. I have a little bit of experience, but like not a whole ton. Most of my experience comes from like fucking around in Serum. Also, I fucked around with Electra X I fucked around with that a lot. Okay, so this heavenly web editor, bro. My goodness, it is fucking amazing. I've been so impressed with this thing. Bread and Butter, you guys killed it. So Bread and Butter, they've got these editors for hardware synths. For instance, for this hardware synth that I have, this is the Roland D-550. It's a synth rack, so it's just like a box. It's not a synth where it has like knobs and levers and shit you can fuck around with to get the sound you want and like, you know, dial in all the different settings. Roland specifically made a editor. It's called the PG-1000. So that's how you're supposed to really like program this thing. You're supposed to like plug the PG-1000 into the D550 and then you can edit it. It looks vaguely similar to this, but this is actually honestly kind of nicer. They improved on it, to be honest. From what it seems like. But yeah, the PG-1000s are going for like a lot of money. They're like, they cost more money than the synth itself. Because they're like more rare. I'm glad I found this one here. If you've heard of Controller, they like also do the same thing. They make editors for hardware synths. They were kind of like the go-to for a bit, I believe, but the founder of that has kind of stopped doing updates to the code and shit, I guess. And so yeah, I couldn't find the D50 editor for Controller. Luckily, someone recommended this on like a forum like Reddit or some shit. And I was skeptical. I was like, a web-based editor? What the hell? But yeah, it's really dope. All right, so let's get into editing here. First, I want to get the init patch. And so how you can do that is you can go to the little selector here for the public library, and they have the init patch in here. Right there. It's at the very beginning. So I'll click on that and it's already loaded. It already sent it to my D550. So like if you look at my D550 right now, on the front of it, it says init patch. So it literally loads like that. It's really dope. It loads so quick too. Okay, so this is what the init patch sounds like. So to give you a quick overview of what you're looking at here, when I first saw it, I felt actually pretty like, it looks overwhelming, to be honest. But it's actually not that bad. See all the 316 parameters or something like that at the same time, a feature not present in any other editor out there, ? So yeah, that's why there's so many knobs and things, because you're literally looking at everything that you can change in this thing. And so this synth was made in it was made in 1987. So I mean, yeah, this is everything you can change. There's no like fancy, like, you know, like in Serum, you can like drag things and route them to, I forgot what the term is, but you know, there's so much shit. If Serum had like everything laid out like this, it'd probably be a lot more. So yeah, when first looking at it, I found it kind of overwhelming. I thought like, oh shit, this looks pretty intimidating. But after using it just a few times, I felt like it's been pretty intuitive, honestly. The top here, I haven't done too much with this. Only like the main things, like, so at the very top, it's kind of just like some overall settings and like effects up here. You've got Portamento, Chase, which I honestly haven't been using, or Bend I haven't been using. I need to fucking figure out what those are. I'll do that on the next batch. But for this first one, we'll just go over what I do know. Got reverb, and so you can see your upper versus lower, and so this is kind of the main thing that you use is key mode. It's not like your regular average digital synth nowadays that you would use, like, you know, with a regular synth you've got like oscillators, and you know, you would have like a number of oscillators that you would stack up, and usually that would make your synth sound. And this one, it's similar, but they call it they have like different terminology and kind of a different workflow. They have this thing called upper versus lower, and they have their own terminologies for it, which I don't quite remember. It's in the owner's manual, but I believe it's tone. So I think it's like the upper tone versus the lower tone is what they call it. And pretty much what that is, like, say if you were using like any other synth, like let's say Electra X, for instance. Electra X, I believe, has like 4 oscillators. So this pretty much does 2. This has 4 oscillators, but they split those 4 up into groups of 2. So you've got 2 in the upper and then 2 in the lower, or 2 in the lower, 2 in the upper. And so you can see that here. So you've got the this left side here, which has got this kind of the lower section, and then the right side with the upper section. And then if you go down here, it's divided further into the 2 lower. They're called partials instead of oscillators for this terminology, I believe, for the synth. So you've got the 2 lower partials and then the 2 upper partials, essentially 4 oscillators or 4 partials. And then you've got everything else that you would have in like your normal synths, and it's all pretty simple. There's nothing too fancy or extra. So you've got like 3 LFOs for the lower here, 3 LFOs for the upper. You've got a chorus effect. The reverb effect, from all I can tell, that just all this stuff up here applies to everything, both upper and lower. You can't like separate it, I don't think. Which, you know, would be nice, but honestly the simplicity helps, bro, because, you know, you're not sitting here putting 4 different reverbs on 4 oscillators. You're just using one. But anyways, yeah, that's what I would think about this stuff. The simplicity of the 1987 technology has been really nice, man. I'm fucking with it heavy. This is another 10-minute yap session, so I suppose after this we'll get into actually editing. But yeah, aside from what I've mentioned so far, you've kind of got 2 choices for an oscillator. You can choose like your regular synth wave, and they've only got 2 you can choose from, square and sawtooth, which is kind of interesting. I don't know why the others aren't available. But you can choose a square or sawtooth, or if you don't want to do a synth, you can choose a PCM, which is just, you know, like a sample, essentially like a wavetable almost. Depending on what you pick, they've got like literal samples like of like pianos and like fucking guitars or whatever, like all sorts of instruments. And then they've got like this section called loops, which is more of like a wavetable, because what you're going to essentially, you know, you're not really trying to make a guitar per se with it. You're just trying to like take the tone from the sample and then create something new with that. But honestly, I've so far found the PCM side of things very limiting. Like, it's not very fun. You load the sample and like there's not much you can do. But that's just been so far. I haven't been fucking with it too much. I've been fucking with the square and saw wave part of it a lot. And what's really, really interesting is, like, you know, with a standard synth, you'd have like attack, decay, sustain, and release. With this, it's obviously the similar concept, but they don't have it labeled like that. They have it labeled like here, like L1, L2, L3, sus, L, end L, sus level, end level, sustain level, end level. And you've got these timing knobs up here for each of those faders. And like, it's just interesting for, like, you know, if we take this one here, for instance, like this is your TVA or otherwise time value amplitude. So in other words, if you're using a normal synth, amplitude, and then this is filter here, which I still haven't totally got the feel of how they differ. I've just been using my ears. It's just kind of weird. It's not totally like a normal synth. But anyways, before I wrap this little section up here, I'll just show, like, because this one is attack, for instance, essentially. And this is the level, and then this is kind of the time. And this is for the amplitude here, so that would be like, you know, your typical attack knob, essentially. But they just have it labeled differently, and it's actually pretty dope, especially with the little waveform here, which if you have the D-50, apparently this little screen should be on there. So as long as you have this little wave diagram, it's very intuitive and fun. If you didn't have this wave diagram, it would actually be very fucking confusing. But yeah, like I said, I'm gonna go for like a sharp kind of beepy, kind of like computer robot-y sound. See what I can do. As far as the loop goes, I'm gonna go for more of like a darker sound, so we'll see what happens. So the first thing I'm gonna do is just turn off all these partials and just be left with one partial here, and then I'm going to start with the waveform. If I'm going for something beepy, between square and sawtooth, I'm thinking square is going to be better. So if you're in the init patch, the first thing that I noticed was really messed up was that right here it's in C1, so you got to change that to a C5, obviously. Pretty much everything else is fairly okay off the bat in the init patch. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so how the fuck am I going to turn that into like a sharp pluggy sound? So definitely for the sound type of sound I'm going for, definitely what's going to be important is like a delay. And luckily I was surprised to see here in the reverb section they've got delays. Yeah, it's pretty dope. I didn't know the D50 could do delay. So here we go. Here's some delays. Let's check it out. I should probably turn the balance up. That's not bad. I think I liked this one here. Let's try this for just for now. Get started here. It's honestly not a terrible start. Like, you know, if I start playing something normal here, right? Honestly, messing with this PW here, I think it changes the waveform a little bit. You get some really different sound. I'm definitely going to want this with the LFO. I'm going to want this to change a lot, so I'm going to go up here. So essentially what I'm doing here, this... You could hear when I changed the resonance, you could clearly hear that was doing, it's got like a more of like an alien type of sound. So if I just turn up this LFO depth, I can kind of mess with that a little bit. Maybe if I make it kind of rounded, and then I just like go up an octave. Let's see what happens. I mean, it's close, but I'm looking for more of like a beepy sound. I think I gotta up the cutoff a little bit. It's not too bad. I'm gonna go down to like, why don't we pick the number of Kobe or Jordan, huh? Go Kobe. That's not too bad. What else could I do? Maybe I'll like slow this attack down a bit. Oh shit, my ear's itching. No, I like the attack better short. Fuck, my ear's itching. We could set another LFO here and mess around with this, see what happens. That sounds nice. Honestly, that's perfect. That's perfect. So what I'm gonna do right now is actually save this. I'm gonna call it Alien. That's what we're going for is beeps. So I'm gonna call it Alien Beeps. And I could save this to the public library, but for now I'm gonna hit no. I probably will once I finish it. I'm not done yet. I'm just getting a temporary save here in case something goes wrong. And then I gotta make sure I hit signed in. And then let's see, Alien Beeps, Hey Tig Beats. Make sure there's none of these damn spaces. I don't know why it does that. And then this would be more of like, I'm just gonna call it a sequencer ARP because that's what I'm going for. And then I'm gonna save it later to the public library. But for now, I'm just gonna put it in my own here. Save, patch was saved, perfect. Now we've got Alien Beeps, just in case anything goes wrong. In fact, you know what? For the sake of just moving on from the first sound, I think I'm just going to stick with this. We're just going to go with this one and make a melody. All right, so that took roughly 5 minutes to get a nice starting melody. That's not too bad. Looks good. Kind of like an alien pluggy sound like I was going for. Very nice. All right, so I need to record this. And then, so now we need to come up with another sound. For this one, I'm going to make it easy on myself. I'm just going to copy this and then kind of change it up. I want the same concept. I just want this one to be more of like a pad and more atmospheric. First thing, just off the bat, like slow the attack down and then. Okay, so off the bat, I'm definitely going to want to turn on this resonance. Also, I'm playing hella low octaves, my bad. Let me go back to C5 here. I mean, I know I'm going to want to raise this end level a bit. That's not bad. It's got a little of like a wobbly sound. What's a good frequency on this one to boost? Let's try the mids. All right, that's pretty good. And then now on this left side here, I'm gonna take advantage of the upper and lower tones. We're in dual mode, so it'll play them like left and right. I'm just gonna copy this and then paste it and turn that on. And then for this one, I'm gonna raise the cutoff and resonance. And then definitely get rid of that. Release. That sounds pretty nice. Fo1's controlling like the filter and this over here. So maybe we'll do like a slower rate for this one, no delay. And then we can do like a triangle, fuck it. And then this one we could do like a saw. This is controlling this over here. We'll do a little bit faster. Maybe a little bit of delay on this one. That's a pretty spacey sound. I should add 2 more, to be honest, to make it even crazier. But I think this is good enough for this sound. You know, I'm going to add more to this loop, so. All right, let's lock in and make another loop. Okay, got the init patch loaded up. This time I'm going to be playing off my mini keyboard here, so it's right in front of me. It feels very weird playing a 1987 synth off of like a fucking 2023 MIDI keyboard. Alright, let's try to quickly get to something better than that. Let's go with square for now. Alright, now that we got like something basic going here, I'm gonna copy this over here. So we got some LFO type shit going on there. And then I'm going to get the LFO on this one going. That's a pretty decent sound. What could I do to improve it? Maybe just like little bits, kind of like little quieter kind of tones at the very beginning with like higher attacks. Maybe that's a bad idea. Okay, that's pretty interesting. Maybe drop this one by like a... Alright, so I just wanted to lay down some drums to see if this chord progression would work, and it sounds like it'll work, but it's going to take a lot of work and like melodies, good melodies and counter melodies to really make this a complete beat. Right now it sounds nice, but this would, for me, just personally get too repetitive, too simply. Alright, bro, that's a pretty good starter sound that I just made here, like as far as the synth preset goes. Let's go on to our next preset, now that we got that saved. Since this one is so nice, I'm just going to kind of start with this as a bass and really trying to change it up. Let's start with this one here. I'm going to need something more plucky. Go ahead and try and use this one. I'm sure it'll be usable, but I was looking for something a little more pleasant sounding. I feel like that's not quite doing it for me right now. We're just gonna rock with it for now. All right, so definitely, you know, the sound on that one could have been better. It's just like kind of like a very simple sound, but I'll probably put some effects on it, make it sound even better. All right, so overall, like I said, that second sound I wasn't too impressed with, but it worked out. All right, I'm going to take this same sound and I'm going to try and just tweak it a little bit, probably, and then make a bass out of it. I do. It's a pretty good start, actually. It needs a lot more melodies and a lot more to it. I think I'm going to take a break real quick. We'll come back. All right, well, yeah, how many sounds is that again? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different kind of melodies, 3 different sounds. So let's go ahead and whip up another sound. That sounds like a pretty nice sound. Let's try that one out. I'm out of coffee. I should make another cup. So I spent a lot longer than I would have liked, as always, honestly, on this loop. I'd really like to move on, but I feel like it still needs a couple more things. One thing for sure is just on my head is like this main pad. I feel like I should just kind of dupe that, like duplicate it onto another sound. That's probably what I'm going to do right now. Let me go ahead and mess around here. I think I'm actually going to just like simplify it a little bit because I've got like these kind of these chops here. Bah, humbug. Okay, let's just see what this sounds like with the keys that I got on currently. I was looking for more of like a pad, but this would definitely be nice. All right, that was kind of easy. I just used the same keys there for that duplicate. Let's try and get one last sound in. This is definitely the last sound I can make. I've made like fucking 5 or 6 sounds right now for this loop. I swear, man, making your own patches like for every sound for the loop is a lot of work. So that's what I was going for. I was going for like a lead. The thing about leads, in my opinion, like these hard leads, is like that's kind of the same space that a vocal takes up. So you really gotta have a solid melody if you're gonna throw the lead into a loop for like someone else to use. So let's see what happens. Okay, so I'm finally willing to call it on this one for now. When I finish this, finish it up and export it and all that stuff for like the loop pack that I'll put it in or whatever. Definitely might add some more stuff. I'm definitely going to put effects on stuff. Maybe section it out a bit more, but this is what I got so far. And then I'm going to leave the 808s and stuff in because it really shows like what kind of vibe this could potentially be. Only thing, maybe I'll put like a little bit of pauses in the 808s so it doesn't get a little bit repetitive, or it doesn't get too repetitive for here. Do something like that. About 6 or 7 sounds, and then we've got like 7 or 8 melodies, some shit like that. Let's hear it. All right, let's go ahead and whip up one last loop here. For this one, I'm thinking like dark trap vibes. I'm gonna go with the sawtooth. Okay, we're getting somewhere. All right, I think we got our first kind of dark pad sound. I'm gonna call this dark pad. Let's see, I'm just gonna pick a random key here. Probably, for Garian's always good. Let's see, can you hear the audio? I just recorded for 10 minutes, but realized I wasn't actually recording. So I just wasted the last 10 minutes, but let's restart. So what I was saying pretty much was I made this really nice patch, which sucks. I wish you guys could have saw. It's not anything too crazy, but just made like a nice spacey pad sound. Pretty much what I did was I just started here on the first upper. I just kind of squared off the filter, so it just has a high attack on the filter, but then on the amplitude here, I just lowered the attack, or moved the attack back a bit, so it's got that slow start like a pad would. Lowered the cutoff, and then I put like an LFO on this cutoff filter and the resonance, I think. So it's kind of like fluctuating. And I probably like tweaked a few other settings. Like for instance, the amplitude, I kind of made this little shape here, which it just ended up sounding pretty nice. And I just copied it over and pasted it and then changed up the LFO on this side a little bit. And that's pretty much all I did. I think I messed with the chorus a little bit on this side. Then after I made that sound, I loaded it up here and I was fucking around. I just wanted to make a simple melody. And then this is what I came up with. I could also drench this in like some reverb and EQ, make it sound better. And see if I can make a melody that sounds good without the... Okay, so got like a melody and a pad there going. Let's go ahead and get another sound. So we've only had one sound so far. I'm gonna go ahead and use this same preset, and then I'm gonna kind of build off of it. First thing I wanna change, I'm just gonna go ahead and mute one of them. I'm gonna stick with this. I'm gonna change it to a square. And then let's see what we got here. I'm looking for more just like... Yeah, that sounds nice. Let's see. Just a little quiet, but let's probably have to turn it up or some shit. I could stack more on that, but it sounds nice just the way it is. I think for now, just to get another sound in, I'm just gonna stick with this. What help, honestly, is if I did this. If I go ahead and do like that. I need another sound. All right, that's a really nice addition. That's like between that and the pad and the other melody, you've got like 3 different sections you can use. So this loop's pretty much done. I might add one more sound. What's good, yo? Hey, Tick Beats, checking in. Got the motherfucking light up there on the motherfucking ceiling, already know. Got the motherfucking keyboard ready to go. Yeah, I'm about to whip up some more loops. I've been making phrases, starters, textures, but yeah, now I'm gonna kind of go back and make some actual loops. Tonight is my last night with the D-550. Yeah, I gotta ship it off tomorrow. Technically today, it's already 3 a.m., so I gotta ship that bitch in the morning. I'm definitely gonna miss it. Yeah, I'm gonna miss it a lot, man. I've had it for a couple years now. Been using it now the past couple nights, and it's a great synth, honestly. Like, I'm not the best sound designer, so I've been just trying to, do what I can. But if you're like a good sound designer, like, man, this thing is fire. This thing is powerful. Like, even though it's from 1987, like, you can really get some modern sounds if you know how to design properly. But yeah, I'm finna get into it, make a couple loops. Yeah, I don't know what else to say, man. What's good, man? So real quick, I just want to say the linear sample pack is out now. So if you want to support, go ahead and grab that. It's got hella phrases and accents. And, you can even reuse them. It's not like a loop where you just use it once and it's done type of thing. You can, use these over and over again, especially the accents. You could really reuse those. If you already got a melody cooked up, you can just drag and drop little accents in there. And, I spent a lot of time, put a lot of work into these sounds. So it's only $5. I'm just going to keep it at that price. But yeah, man, appreciate you watching. And then here is that final loop.
Hey, chick!